are you doing? It's teacher Júlia here. I'm here to talk a little about my project. I did this project and I presented it a few months ago, a year I guess, and but it's still relevant. And as we are learning to do the online project, I'm here as an example for you. Okay. All right, let's start. The theme I chose to talk about is salary gap between genders. Okay, I chose to talk about this project because I think nowadays with the crisis and everything, there are important problems we have to discuss. And this theme is actually really, how can I say, relevant and important to discuss. So here's a little introduction. I'm going to talk during my presentation what it means to be a woman nowadays, some historical facts to explain why we need to make a change, and living with purpose in the 21st century. So I'm going to start, okay? This is just an example for you. It's probably not going to be perfect, but I am doing my best. So I hope you enjoy this project. Let's go. I put a small text here. I don't know who wrote this text, but I found it online and I think it's really nice. And it talks about what it means to be a woman nowadays and all the pressure we have to deal with. I am sure that if you are a girl, if you are a woman, you understand and you relate to one of these items. So I'm going to read it. Okay, I'm going to read the text. Here's to the girls who don't wake up with perfect hair. That's me like every day. Who don't mind eating a Big Mac instead of salad. Who don't wear 50 pounds of makeup. Who would rather spend the day in sweatpants than skinny jeans. Who love the comfort of t-shirts. Who don't get all the guys. Who aren't popular but feel like it when they're with their friends. Who stick to sneakers instead of heels. Who aren't afraid to break a nail. Who don't always get their own way. Who don't get everything they want. Who don't need a guy to tell them that they are beautiful. Here's to all the girls who are just like me. So yeah, we all go through tough times in our lives, and I am sure that it makes us stronger. Why did I choose this text to start my presentation? Because there are some important points we have to discuss, we have to present when it comes to dealing with the pressure society puts on us. And nevertheless, all the things that we have to change. And it starts a long time ago when women were like starting to appear in the working place, okay? And they had a really bad look over society. They were considered like people thought they were abandoning their families and doing bad things, that they didn't have to work, they didn't have to be concerned with working. And those kind of sayings were usually from men who didn't want them to go and work and get money, like earn money by themselves. Still, with the changes we know that the 21st century presents, women nowadays still have trouble with getting the right credit, and we're going to understand why and how. Well, in Great Britain, it's proven that 74% of companies pay men more than women. So take a look at this chart here. Look, men paid more, women paid more, no difference. In small companies, like small cities, that is considered normal, and women usually don't complain about it. But when it comes to like the bigger picture and women's rights, we have to understand it's a problem so that we can fix it. Now I'm going to talk about one of my favorite people and women in history. This is Rosalind Franklin. She was a scientist, and she discovered a really important structure in the DNA, which is the double helices that it has. And she studied everything. But she died, and these guys here in the picture for you, they stole her ideas. And they are famous. They are considered famous in the scientific community because they were the ones who discovered that structure. But we know, and we have to know, it was discovered by a woman, Rosalind Franklin. It really makes me angry that sometimes we forget about important women in history. So I have here more examples for you. I am sure you know all of them. I hope you know all of them. Frida Kahlo, she was a painter who basically transformed what it meant to be a painter in the last century. This is Michelle Obama. She was the first lady of the United States a little time ago, before Donald Trump. And she and her husband, they were amazing figures in the world's history. They represented women's rights, Black people's lives, and their cause is just amazing and beautiful. This is Clarice Lispector. She was she didn't live. She didn't. She wasn't born in Brazil, but she lived here, and she considered herself a Brazilian woman, and she was amazing. She wrote great pieces of work, great stories and books. This is Ruth Menes. I'm going to take my book just a moment. Ruth Menes is the author of this book. Mulheres não são chatas, mulheres estão cansadas. This is my favorite and only book that I've read about her. She talks a lot about feminism in this book. She's a lawyer, and she represents and stands up for women as well. I have more people here, more women. This is Mila Kunis. She was an immigrant. She wasn't born in the United States either, but she is an actress, and she also defends a lot about feminism and things like that. I probably think you know Anne Frank. She wrote an amazing diary during World War II, and talking about her daily life and her stories and way of living transformed history, and people are touched up until today because of what she wrote in this diary. She's amazing. She was amazing. This is Malala. Malala, she was a girl who protested against the decision in her country, which was that women couldn't go to school and couldn't receive education, and she was shot in the head. She's okay now. I don't think she lives there anymore. She's like protected by the United Kingdom or something, and she was an important figure when it comes to defending education for women in the Oriente Médio, Middle East, I think. Yeah, she was really nice, really important figure to nowadays history, okay? And this is Taylor Swift, one of my favorite singers. My students probably know that. And she goes to Women's March. She writes amazing songs. I'm going to show you one song that she wrote about being the man. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know. Oh, I guess I don't know what I did. I don't know if I'm still recording, but I'm gonna move on and then I go to the video. But Taylor Swift is also a woman who defends women's rights and feminism. Okay, so let's talk a little about the salary gap itself, okay? There's a study from Princeton University that says that the salary gap is a consequence from choosing to have children. They start to make less money after their maternity leave, while men don't. So yeah, the problem is women are able to have children, and they are legally protected to stay home with their kids for like 6 months or a year. In some countries that is lower, and some others are they have more time to take the maternity leave. But the thing is, we know that women who have kids, when they come back to work, they suffer because they are seen differently. And there are reports of women saying that they gave up on working because they had a bad impression among their colleagues. So it's like they didn't feel comfortable anymore because of their maternity leave and how it was to go back to work in that period. Okay, and Princeton University says it's true that the salary gap, the fact that women receive less money than men, have a lower salary, is because they choose to have kids. And it's a right. It's their right to have kids. But the problem is the owners of the companies don't think like that. When we discuss this, it's possible to notice we have an important role to change our daily lives. And I tell you this, students, you are the future. You are going to be the ones who hire or fire women because they have kids or because they did a bad work. So you have to know how to separate, okay? And if we encourage nowadays girls to enter the job market doing what they want and giving their best, while also teaching our boys to respect them as equal, we'll get into a slow but efficient process of mentality change. We have to understand people. It's like we need to understand education is the key, because once girls are aware of their role in society and boys know that they have to respect women's rights, we are going into the same process of understanding that we cannot afford salary gap anymore. We can't stand it anymore. And it's important to keep resisting the system, rules, and its differences, doing our part with the community through education. So this is my principal key here in this presentation. It's education. In order to achieve a better working condition for women, we develop our economy with equal salaries. If everybody receives the same amount of money, the same salary for the same work, then it's a good process for everybody. I was going to talk a little more about, this was a video, but I don't think it's going to be here. Okay, let me just, okay. We know it's not going to be a fast solution, okay? We know it's really hard to change something that was taught to everybody in the years, okay? Several authorities have fought for the end of salary gap, and political organizations, they can direct attention to create proper work-life balances and adequate education for all age groups. My point is, you are the future. You are going to be part of those political organizations. You are going to decide how the future is going to be, because you're going to go to work and study, and you have to remember these kind of problems, because they are going to be problems for you in some point of your life. Here's a line from Michelle Obama: there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. Just so you can think. Okay, so my project intention is to give people the right information about what is going on nowadays, and hopefully to create some nice ideas in people's mind about salary gap, how it started, why it still exists, and how to stop it. Okay, so this is basically what I want to pass you. We have to call salary gap a problem so that we can find solutions for the problem. Okay, And education is the best thing we can invest so that in the future we raise kids who are aware, who are conscious, and then the future is going to be better. So here's to the strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them. These are my references, the websites that I searched. And thank you for your time. Probably I passed a little from the time that I had, but I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions about your project, students, I'm here for you. But this is it, okay? You are going to look at the picture. Você vai olhar aí para o slide, né? Look at the slides. E você vai falar sobre o que está nos seus slides, como se fosse uma apresentação normal, tá? A diferença é que você não está numa sala cheia de gente. Então, você tem toda a liberdade de falar o que você quiser, desde que esteja dentro do tema, tá? E vai nessa, tá bom? If you have any more questions, you can send me a message. We have a team who is ready to help you, okay? So this is it, and thank you so much.